Okay, we're going to look at the precious metals today, but we're going to do that through the lens of the gold to silver ratio. And so, gold to silver ratio is just taking the price of gold, dividing it by the price of silver. And so, when it's going higher, it means gold is outperforming silver, silver is underperforming gold. And when it's going lower, it means silver is having, a really big run. And so when this is an annual chart, meaning every candle is 1 year. So this goes back to, call it 1967, when we have reliable data. You can see that was a big outperform. That was a big year for silver to the upside, because this was a big red candle. But then we had this huge run up in the ratio, which means silver massively underperformed. Then we had this plunge, which means this was a bull market for silver. And then we had this multi-year advance until we got this massive swing high. Now, I talk about swing highs and swing lows because that is literally what dominates all price action at every time frame. Doesn't matter what the time frame is. But more importantly, the higher the time frame, the more significant the swing high or swing low. This is a swing high once we went below this high here. And this is an annual chart. So this is about as high a level as you can get in terms of time frame, right? This is the biggest picture you can have. So we fell below, we closed the year below that, then we consolidated for a bit, then a massive dump. So this was a big bull for silver in making this move down. But we've essentially just been consolidating in this same general area for like 20 years, right? Like this big massive dump down happened in 1998. So for last 20 years or so, we've just been kind of going up and going down, then going up, then going, oh, this was really scary in 2011. Then up, but not too far. Then, so point here is that this is setting up for an explosive move. This is all consolidation, you could say, on from one perspective or another. Between 85 and 40, obviously a pretty wide range. But you imagine this is either going to break up massively or break down massively. And given this massive upper wick, it looks like we may get a breakdown at some point. Though this immediate action, I'll get rid of these lines so it's clear. It's important to note, right? Incredibly important to note the exact immediate situation is a swing high on the annual chart, right? The whole year of 2021 has now become a swing high once we went above the high from that year, right? So that 82 level, we're now at 85.68. Now, we have a lot of year to go. Another concept that's important is that candles transform in the process of, before they close. So this enormously bearish candle at one point was bright green. We know that because we know how candles work. This is where the candle opened, right? Right? So it opened at, what is that? $85. At one point, it went all the way to 126, right? So it opened at 85, and at one point, it went all the way to 126. So this was from here to here was a big green candle. It looked like this thing was going to go to 400, I imagine. And then it reversed all the way to the point where it closed here. So all that to say, while this looks incredibly bullish right now, right? How we have this swing low on the yearly level, this candle still has 7 months to close, 8 months almost, really. So a lot could happen. This could reverse all the way. Once it gets here, it goes green, or red. And then you could have a situation that looks similar to this, right? You have a long upper wick because you had a pullback. Now, we have to look at the lower time frames to understand what the likelihood is of that happening. But it's important to understand this big picture because I think this chart is going to tell you everything you need to know about precious metals. When this is going lower, the precious metals are in a bull market. So to be clear, when this is going lower, silver is doing better than gold, but generally gold is still doing well also. When this is going higher, it generally means people are more risk off. And so silver is being thrown in the trash bin and people are willing to dip their toes into gold for that sort of safe haven kind of idea. And so when we look at the monthly chart, right, this is your swing low that I called out on that annual chart. Again, thinking about how the time frames work together, right? That low on that annual chart happened on a specific month. Obviously, it happened on a specific week, specific day, even a specific hour, minute. You can always drill down to a smaller level. Well, I guess until you get to like the 1 second candles, obviously. And so if you're thinking about the possibilities, this could, I'm not saying it is, I'm not saying it has to be, but this could be a bear flag, right? This, I mean, even if it were, we could still have months of upside before a collapse. But if it were, we could look at a measured move kind of idea. And notice I'm not even taking this wick, right? I'm just kind of looking at, call it right after the wick. Let's even say it spilled over from up here, right? That still gets you down to a ratio. That still gets you down to like the 58 level, 58 area. And that tells you nothing about where, the actual price of silver will be. But it tells you that, more likely than not, we're going to be moving higher in the precious metals in general, because silver is going to be, having one of its massive runs like what happened here, right? The other thing to keep in mind and pay attention to, I think it's always important to look at the nuances. Look at the size of these candles, right? This line is the yearly swing low, by the way. Again, thinking about the time frames, right? But look at the size of these little green candles compared to these candles, right? Look at the size of this massive candle, the distance it covers. Generally, the candles that are in the direction of the trend are going to be large, and the counter trend candles are smaller, right? Again, more potential for this to be setting up as a bear flag, right? You had these huge down moves, and then you've had this little creepy action. This is an uptrend, to be clear, right? This is a high, higher low. This is a high, higher low. Now we're consolidating here for a little bit, but now we've broken out, right? We've broken out above to that right? Again, like, think about that as this is your yearly swing low level, which we've clearly broken out of. But thinking about the bigger picture, this is all happening in the context of this massive downtrend that we're just trying to creep up out of. And again, getting above this pivot here is pretty promising, but you always have that risk of kind of falling over and looking at that bigger picture chart, this swing high that we're beneath. And I guess that's the last thing I'll look at here on this monthly candle is just observe that month that we had that blow off, right? March 2020, the COVID crash. We came and we put in a swing low a couple months later when silver made its kind of sort of massive run, right? So the monthly swing low was confirmed in July of 2020, which is actually right before silver topped, right? Silver then ran to August and then kind of topped. But like this, below that level, 94.51 was your swing low. Notice we then had a massive dump. We popped back up. This becomes your lower high. And then we come back down. That's your lower low, right? So, I mean, technically, this is your low, lower high, low, or low, lower high, lower low. And then we started this, a little uptrend, right? Again, this was a little bull flag that we've kind of broken out of. But this chart is really going to tell us the direction that everything is going. And just in general, again, I'll reiterate, I think the market is going lower into the summer. But following the specifics of this chart, I think will tell you about your opportunity in gold or silver. And this is just your weekly chart. Again, you can see it kind of this explosive move higher. We're way above the 10-period moving average. So this is all telling me we could probably see a explosive move in silver soon. Doesn't mean it will be sustained. We could get an early cycle top and continue to fall, most likely continue to fall into the weekly cycle low. But this is kind of building up energy, I guess is the way I would think about it. Like this whole consolidation here for, like, this is the daily chart now. We've now kind of broken upside. Now, again, this is moving in the direction of gold outperforming silver. And so maybe this continues for many weeks and months. In my mind, that's okay, because that just means a bigger explosive move for silver. It's just unclear at what price that comes from. Now, that obviously doesn't mean much to you if you're already long, but hopefully you're being patient here and picking your spots.